worry. Dinner will be ready soon. Oh, what are we having? Why you, of course. See, we've already enjoyed the crunch of cowboy and the spiciness of lettuce, but unfortunately they didn't quite suffice our appetites. Hold on, folks, because this is a special Halloween edition of the EverCast Show.
Enough of the same game already. It's time to get some new ideas in this genre. And if somebody was going to do it, it should be EverQuest. We're at the point right now where we're building something that's both heroic and social. We've taken everything we know about games and MMOs in general, and we're fusing the best parts into an original shape, well, that we hope will create triumph and passion in the gamers that play it. See, we were serious about it being a sandbox game.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the EverCast Show.
Wait, this isn't Rivendell?
There's Moria.
wait, this is EverQuest. Sorry, this isn't Fadewar? How are we doing? Go and say hi, Phantom, say hi, Kai.
Yeah, hi, this is Phantom X.
Happy almost Halloween, everybody. Thanks y'all for tuning in tonight. We have an awesome show planned. We have Phantom X here, obviously from EQ Nexus, which we'll talk about in a sec. We're also going to be talking about artificial intelligence and utility-based artificial intelligence too. So we're going to pick apart the argument a little bit, see what kind of assumptions, if any, we can make about EverQuest next. I think we're going to start off with the ECAST news. Would you take that away, my resident dwarf?
Hi. Hello, everybody. As you can notice, we are two valiant adventurers down this evening. Our normal guests of Flatus and Calboard had some personal problems that arose, and they are taking care of those, and they will not be joining us tonight. If they are watching the stream, though, you guys are still in our thoughts, and we can't wait to have you guys back when you're in 2 weeks when we do our next show. Other than that, the only other news that we have is that we are continuing on with our EverCraft Minecraft server contest, and we're going to go ahead and play that video again for you. So if you will bear with me 1 second, I will get that going for you, and here we go.
Hello everyone, Kolbu here from EverCast. Today I want to officially announce our Minecraft server. Many of us are obviously looking forward to Landmark, and after seeing if there was enough interest on Twitter and a few forums, we decided to launch a Minecraft server specifically themed for EverQuest. Anyone can build on the server, and your builds don't have to specifically be structures that are from EverQuest, but have to fit into the world of EverQuest, in similar fashion of how we're all looking forward to building in EverQuest Landmark. The last 2 days we have already been building with a small group of people from my stream on the world, and I wanted to give you some highlights of what we have accomplished on the server so far. I think it's a testament to how much you can achieve with a small group of people in a limited amount of time, with collaboration. So enjoy!
Alright. And boy, the more I see that video, the more it makes me want to get my hands on Landmark and start building. It really does. Every time I could build this, I could build that. It definitely gets me pumped up.
It's so same with those pictures that Dave teased out.
Oh my goodness!
Last week, I saw those and I was just got the biggest smile on my face. It's awful.
Yes, if you haven't followed Dave Georgeson on Twitter yet, now is the time to do it and go look. Earlier this week, he posted some amazing pictures of what he was able to do with Landmark.
Yeah, it was like 4 hours too. Pretty simple. Like I said, Butlers and the artist stuff that they're doing is just amazing too. So I can't wait to see more. That also brings up, just I guess since we are a news show, we should bring up the fact that every Wednesday now, Sony will be doing a live streamed roundtable / game show for EverQuest Next. So they'll be showing different things off. They said within the next coming weeks they'd be showing kind of more gameplay and more information maybe about beta and stuff like that might be coming up. So be sure to check it out. Like, I lost my train of thought, my bad. Let's all go round robin and explain our characters real quick. Whoever wants to start.
I'll go first. I think somebody's calling me a Karen.
But, Angie, what does the fox say?
I hate you. You know okay. I hate you. Right
you now. Are a fox, though. You said you were a fox.
Yeah, I'm Iraqi from Vanguard. Actually, one of my favorite characters. Her name is Copper Fox, and one of our viewers requested that one of us tried to do one of our own characters, and she said EverQuest 2, and I really wanted to do a Dark Elf, but I knew I couldn't do it justice. not this time. On such short notice, so I did the Iraqi.
I think it's awesome. I think it was a really good job.
Yeah, looks good.
What are you gonna be? Who are you, Phantom X?
Well, I'm clearly the scrub of the group. I am trying to channel my inner Omid, and I see he's in the stream chat. I'm not sure if I'm doing him justice, but
Yeah, we tried that last episode too. I don't think we were able to do it justice.
I think there was.
I think of all the attempts so far that Phantom X is the closest.
I think so too. Yeah, just need some messy hair.
All right, well, shaved head.
And how about you, Mr. Dwarf?
Well, yeah, pretty obvious what I am. I am a dwarf. This is a crocheted dwarf helm and beard that my wife Kai Lest was able to do for me. I
It is epic.
My favorite part of it is definitely the scale mail in the back.
Wow.
She put like I think she said that she put 30 hours of work into this beard, and I'm very happy with it, and I'll probably keep it for a long, long time in many Halloweens going into the future.
That's a keeper. I kind of want it. I might come steal it next time I'm in your area. Hey, Taylor, let me come over for a little bit.
I do have to say that it is warm, and because of the way it's built, I hope the sound is good because my headphones are a little far off my ear.
That's awesome. My costume, sorry. I actually got some backstory. I was thinking maybe I want to be an elf, and I was like, how do I do an elf? I wanted to be a dark elf first. And then as I was putting my costume together, if you see, I have all these like scars, and I tried to make like evil veins coming out of my eyes. Anyone making any connections yet? Okay, that's a no. I'm Corlin Larkos from the novels. He was a high elf illusionist. I guess spoiler alert. If you don't want to hear this, plug your ears. But he was a high elf, archmage illusionist, basically, and he got like cursed by the evil dragon and became it seems to be like the world's first necromancer or something totally evil. So this is like me transitioning with like the evilness coming out of my eyes. And, yeah. So, I thought I was Fiorina V. Thanks.
Stripper elf.
I'm not that pretty.
That's what I said too.
I put a lot of work, guys. Leave me alone.
To see, you can drink in yours. I tried drinking with. I can't do it.
Oh, that's true.
I have to use a straw.
So we're going to be discussing the, actually first, I guess we should introduce Phantom X since he's been here so polite having us talk so much. So who are you, Phantom X? Where are you from? What do you do?
Yeah, I'm Phantom X. I do social media and write articles for EQ Nexus. Joined up with them kind of right when they got started and didn't expect to be in this position, but that's where I've come to. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Fantastic. And eqnexus.com is the URL. If you guys haven't been to it, it's pretty much the #1 place to get your EverQuest Next news right now. It's right up there with 10 Ton Hammer, an amazing site. They put a lot of dedication, a lot of work into it to bring you a lot of interesting articles. In fact, one of the topic that we're covering tonight actually has a lot to do with an article that Phantom X wrote. We'll post it in chat for you a little bit later to read about. But you guys are also doing something with Extra Life coming up, right? Did you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, just briefly, everyone's invited to either play with us or watch our streams. We're going to post some stuff up on our website about it. Extra Life is a 25-hour gaming marathon where we're trying to raise donations. It's for a charity event for Children's Miracle Network, and you basically get to donate to your local children's hospitals. And we will be streaming the entire time and giving away some stuff as well. Sony has been really, really nice, giving us some EQ2 swag, actually a few Nagy hats to give away too. But we have a whole lot of other stuff coming. Along with that, Turbine's giving us 100 beta keys for Infinite Crisis, Lord of the Rings, Helm's Deep. And then we have some other smaller companies as well. A lot of stuff that will be given away during the whole time. So we just want everyone to come out and have fun and hopefully donate. So everyone is invited.
Well, fantastic. Yeah, I think we might have to get on the ball with that too, and maybe do some streaming. We'll see what we can work out. I know Kabur was looking at doing Extra Life, so maybe we could work together a little bit. You guys have really nailed a lot of partnerships, so it should be a great event.
We'd love for you guys to be there.
And said that I'm going to be participating with the EverQuest Nexus team. But
R.
But
I should say R as an elf.
November 2nd is a very
November 2nd.
special date. Very special. It's my birthday.
It's his
Oh,
birthday.
I was like, what
So
kind of date is it? What are you talking about?
I will be
Happy birthday.
streaming for the Extra Life charity for 24-ish hours. I'm going to take some time off for, the important one in my life. But other than that, yes, I also plan on...
He was pointing up. Are you
Yes.
upstairs, Kai?
Yes, Kai is... She's above me in the chat.
Well, fantastic. So, we're going to be talking about utility-based artificial intelligence and what it could mean and what kind of artificial intelligence we may see in EverQuest Next. One of the biggest features, if you guys could agree with me, seems to be this artificial intelligence. It's one of the things that really is mind-blowing in a way because of the way we've been so attached to MMORPG models of, the past 10 years or so and their AI is just so simple. It all has to do with aggro range. And, if then, very basic, if the player walks this far away, the mob starts attacking, the mob has these abilities, and it uses this on this time code over and over again. So the strategy is about learning the fight. Once you learn the fight, it's boring, It can't keep challenging you or adapting or anything like that. We have a video to show of Dave Mark. He's going to explain through his video a little bit about what utility-based theory is and how it can apply with artificial intelligence. It's from a GDC summit he did. But before we play it, who is Dave Mark? Who is Storybricks? Dave Mark is he's a great guy. No, he's actually he goes around and works with companies and helps them. What is the word I'm looking for? Help me out here, guys.
A consultant?
I think I had too many beers. A consultant.
Yeah.
He's a wonderful consultant. Yeah. Why are you guys letting me drown here? Anyway, so, all right. So Dave Mark, he consults for a bunch of companies. He got together with Storybricks. So they were working on their project, which we'll talk about a little bit later too. And basically, they are both now working with Sony to create an emotional-based, utility-based artificial intelligence system for EverQuest Next. And if you guys haven't heard about it, trust me, you're going to want to stick around. So let's go ahead and play that video.
Pardon the technical difficulties. Evidently, I paused for too long. I'll bring it right back up. As quick as I can.
You should do a lecture on this stuff at the AI Summit. So, hey, what the heck, here we are. Starting at the beginning, though, what is utility theory? This is straight off of Wikipedia. In economics, utility is a measure of the relative satisfaction from or desirability of consumption of various goods and services. And so, therefore, given this measure, we can speak meaningfully of increasing or decreasing utility and thereby explain economic behavior in terms of attempts to increase one's utility. A lot of fancy words. What does it come down to? Basically, it's how much is something worth to me. And we make these decisions all the time. Utility is not necessarily equal to value. So, for example, a $20 bill has a specified value of $20. It's listed right there on the front. However, if I am on a desert island and there's not a 7-Eleven in sight, the $20 bill has absolutely no utility for me. The value is unchanged, but the utility is negligible at that point. Of course, it allows comparisons between concepts, and because of that, it allows us to do decision analyses between competing interests, decide which one is better. And a phrase you hear a lot is maximization of expected utility. And what this means is if I look at the situation and say, how am I going to maximize what I'm getting out of the situation? You can also think of this in terms of like a chess tree search or min-max search. That's really all you're doing. You're scoring everything, you roll it all up and say, which of these choices that I can make right now gives me the best situation, the maximizing my expected utility for the rest of the game that would follow. So it's a very similar concept. It's also related to the disciplines of game theory and decision theory. Of course, John von Neumann was the one who wrote the book, along with Oscar Morgenstern, Theory of Games and of Economic Behavior. That's great bedtime reading, by the way. 15 minutes, you're out. This was kind of the seminal book in 1944 that really, really went in depth in using game theory, utility theory, etc. It's no coincidence that the name includes economic behavior, because utility theory is very much used in economics for understanding decision making, and then through business modeling, of decision modeling in business. In fact, of course, we use it all the time. For example, just to make a decision, $40 for the conference lunch, or I go across the street and have a burger for $12. That's utility theory in economics, but on a personal level. And so people have been using a lot of utility theory in the realms of psychology and even biology of why things do what they do. So it's got a long and storied history, just not necessarily in game development. So by ascribing value to something, of course, we are able to analyze it. We can convert raw numbers into some usable concepts. We understand distance is 75. We have a picture of what that is. How much ammo do I have in my gun? We understand. It tells us something. How much health do I have? The medical field will be a little alarmed that we all reduce health to a number. But more importantly, though, we can convert these raw numbers into useful concepts that we can go forward and actually do something with. For example,
So, yeah, little video explaining what utility is. It's basically just trying to maximize your needs. As human beings, we do it on a daily basis. Everything we do in life, the reason we choose to do it is because we thought it was better than something else. And it was the reason we chose to do it in the first place. Now, what does this mean when it comes to games and comes to artificial intelligence systems, and also a more ecological level, where it's not just so much about the individual, but about maybe the society as the whole, or the faction as the whole, as we put it in game terms? Why don't we go ahead, Phantom X, you want to talk about your article a little bit, and what you came to, or what conclusions you came to? Oh, we can't hear you. Make sure you're...
Yeah, sorry. I got directed there actually through Reddit, and that's when I first stumbled onto Dave Mark's stuff and started watching the videos that you just posted, and it just sort of clicked. This is what they're talking about, and this is what he's talking about in these videos. It's some really cool stuff. Never been done in MMOs before. The article focuses on combat, but this is something that can be pushed everywhere. And that's what they've told us now they're doing. They're creating one system for everything you can think of with AI. Some of the forum posts that I've seen talking about animals, ecology, the economy. I mean, it all fits in there. And it's going to create a completely different system than what we're used to. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, we can go back to the example straight from the keynote, which apparently was stolen from somebody. But Dave Georgeson's example of the orcs, we let them free in the world. They have their own mindset, they have their own wants and needs, and it changes the entire game. It makes it completely emergent because, well, not completely emergent, depends how well they script it. But it has the chance to make it emergent to the point where it can always alter and can always change depending on how many variables are being computed at a time. So it's something that's never really been done in gaming. I don't know of a single game that has artificial intelligence to this level other than like a simulator like SimCity or, the Sims themselves. But I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think that's the important change in the MMOs is that we're going from a static world where the changes in the world are done on the back end through patches where they'll update places, and make small little changes, to a more dynamic system where they put tools in place and then let the game tell, it's going to do its own little thing, and it's not going to be done on the back end. All the tools are in place for it to evolve on its own out there in the world. At least that's the way I see it. And that evolution is going to take place on a player level. They're going to be able to interact and contribute to the change.
Definitely. Oh, Tamlin's volume's a little low. Well, I guess at least it's not muted this time. Hey, # pulling a Tamlin. No, but yeah, That definitely seems what the gist of it. If you guys looked at Storybricks, what it was before they started working with Sony from their little Kickstarter campaign is that players could go into like a little environment and practically place NPCs down. Now these NPCs could be modified; their behaviors could be modified. It's a modular system. So let's say I have a guard, or let's say I'm making Tamlin and his dwarfish appearance there, and I say dwarves, they like to live underground. They like big fortresses. They're very defensive when it comes to maybe insults or something like that, and they love beer. So I plug that all into the character.
Medals.
Exactly. So I plug that all into the NPC, and then the NPC starts evaluating the world around it. It uses data maps of like, oh, there's a lot of beer in this area, so maybe the NPC will say, hey, I want to go over there, depending on what's going on. And I don't know, the possibilities are great. I really enjoy it on the ecological side. You think about like factions that are warring against each other. Players had nothing to do with it. Maybe players maybe the orcs just got pissed at the goblins for some reason, and they're fighting it out. And then humans kind of come into it. And maybe when the humans come into the situation, well, then they evaluate utility based. Like the orcs and the goblins say, "Hey, why are we fighting each other? We hate the humans more." So maybe they start attacking the players, banding together and ending their war. There's a lot of possibilities when it comes to faction-based stuff and combat and storytelling and everything.
And then the way you can scale it is also really neat. I mean, the more tags you add, the harder it's going to be in combat to overcome a raid target or something like that. That to me is also a really neat part of this, that they can make things dumber or smarter as they see fit.
Yeah, definitely. They said there would be different levels of intelligence with mobs. So you have like the kobolds where they show it's easy to smack them around, but they have big numbers, so they'll start attacking you, jump on your backs, start stabbing you, I guess. So you have to be careful to a point. But I'd imagine like a dragon is very intelligent. Not only does it have strong attacks and stuff like that, but it might be very intuitive in the way it interacts with the world and judging the fight itself. I know there's tons of implications for this artificial intelligence with like combat itself, especially with like multi-classing and the ability to change weapons and all these different things.
But yeah, you can. Go ahead.
Well, and we were talking about the dumbest of the dumb, like the zombie and the skeleton class intelligence, and then all the way up to scale. And I think that one of the things is that like Sony Online has proven over the time is that they can, that when you release the game, the game isn't even static. Like you can add extra variables in as the game progresses. And so like when you're looking at like a 10-year product, you can be like, well, we don't even know 5 years from now what sorts of things that we're going to be able to add to it. And that's like very exciting to me to see all of this different interaction and where it goes.
Yeah, so like if we're talking about EQ Next proper completely, I mean the whole experience seems to be about delivering a narrative that's strong, a world that's believable, that's immersive, that you can really get behind the story and go on these epic grand adventures and just explore and learn new things. And the AI completely pays off into that. What if you're walking through town with a friend and you just see a robber that comes out of nowhere that robs like an innocent lady, and you decide to kill the robber? Well, maybe the robber really wasn't a robber at all. Maybe just you perceived him as a robber, and when you find out it was like a guard undercover trying to like kill an evil wizard. Maybe she starts attacking you, and the villager starts hating you because you thought you were helping, and it turns out the AI deceived you a little bit. The character deceived you. I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be really, really fun. I mean, it really will be different from anything we know, and the world will be watching you, and they're going to know what you do, like they said it will. As far as combat, and that's where the whole idea of the Holy Trinity and all that, it just doesn't really work anymore as we know it within this kind of an AI system. When you have an intelligent monster that you're fighting, it just doesn't work anymore. There'll be the need for defense, healing, all that, but it's just going to be so different. I think people, hopefully, I hope at least, will be shocked when we see it.
Yeah, I completely agree. Mm-hmm. And it just has so many implications. Like, if you can put this system in the game, I mean, it can affect merchant-based transactions. It can affect an economy, a player economy. Maybe, I think you were discussing it a little bit, Phantom, in your article about, like, what if the vendor only wants certain types of items and then they run out of those items and then they try and seek it from other ways. Maybe they'll pay more. Like, it can be completely dynamic. It's not just like the haggle you have in Skyrim or Oblivion, where you just modify the amount that you're haggling bit by bit until they like you a little more. Like, it actually has to do with their needs at the time. It's not scripted.
Well, what if the AI was aware of the current market? If they did put in an auction house system and then even put the NPCs like some sort of code where they were aware of the auction house prices and then base some of their decisions off of that.
Yeah, you completely could get a localized economy based on where you are in the world. What we're used to, you go sell something to a merchant, well, it's going to pay the same as 2 continents over. Well, it doesn't have to be that way anymore. Yeah, the difficult part will definitely be the auction house for a real economy, but I guess we don't know a whole lot about that just yet. So
now the system itself, like, do you guys think this is possible? Do we have some gurus really designing the system that are taking this massive knowledge and making something brand new, innovative? Or do you think it's rhetoric a little bit?
It might be a little bit of rhetoric.
I'm just playing devil's advocate,
I'm okay with it being a little bit of rhetoric, because I think that even outside of like the whole MMO point of view, we're at that precipice where we're experimenting in more and more different places about AI. I just read, outside of gaming, that Google said that they're 2 of the creators of Google said, hey, we intend for Google to become intelligent. And, this is something that
oh, man. Terminator references are coming into my mind.
Right, of course. Skyrim becomes self-aware.
Skynet.
Or Skynet, not Skyrim. But, I mean, this is something that humanity is moving towards, not just like game developers. We want to see, and maybe it's because I've been watching a bit too much Star Trek lately, but where I think that even if it is rhetoric and the expectations are a little bit higher than what is actually delivered, I think it's awesome that they're experimenting with this. Like, what can we do? What sort of worlds end up getting created if we, take this and we give it these sort of rules and then throw it out there and let it interact. And over time, with human intelligent interaction, what gets built, what gets destroyed, that sort of thing.
I wonder, are they going to program certain NPCs with essentially the rules of robotics, right? The do no harm type thing. What happens if an NPC evolves? I mean, is that possible? It is AI after all. Is it possible that it'll evolve in a way that this system isn't expected to?
So what I've heard about artificial intelligence in EverQuest Next is that it's not like fully aware. It's just a really complicated formula, I guess you could say. So it's not necessarily that the mob itself might learn from an encounter, get away, and then change right away, or personally change the way it does something. That's something that could be programmed into it. They could change, since it's modular, you could say, hey, the skill level's 15 or whatever that means. It's arbitrary. But then say, hey, well, maybe that mob isn't powerful enough, or maybe the storyline evolves to where the orcs have found this ancient temple and they're starting this new karate. I don't know. But then they could take that little modular function and say skill level 18 now, pop it in, whatever will change, and will deliver a new experience. That's what I think the gist of is thus far, but we haven't heard too much.
I think my understanding of it is that there is some unknown to it, but that the developers still retain control over what's done. There's still a little bit of not sure what might come from it, but it's not like a neural net type of AI where it actually learns. This won't learn, it's just intelligent. So they still retain some control. And I do think it's real. I mean, I think in the article I wrote, I kind of compared it to if you wanted a doctor, you would hire a specific one. So why go out and get guys that know this stuff if you didn't plan on putting it in? Now, to what degree will they put it in? I don't know. But
and I don't think it needs to be fully intelligent, learning, evolving AI. One of the things that I think
I mean, I'm with Kai. It would be pretty epic.
It would be cool, but I think that you can just throw it out there and see what happens with the rules that you've established, and you can tell a story based off of what you see, and then take the next step from a human point of view instead of a learning AI point of view. Like, you know, hey, we're seeing this, this, and this, and you know what? That sounds an awful lot like it could be interesting if we did this other thing. And so then you go back and you react to what's going on in the game from that point of view. And I think that's one of the things that I think that where instead of being ahead of the story and constantly generating content and feeding it back to the player, instead you put it out there and you react to it based on what it does.
Yeah. But then that's the thing, Kai, though, like what you were saying about it learning. In a way, it seems like it could be learning in the context of it all, because the occasion itself, like the transaction that's happening between the player and the AI is always grounded. It's always based in the situation at hand, the variables that are at hand. So let's say the player gets smarter and changes the variables of the situation, then the AI is going to modify due to the changes in the variables and create a new experience.
I just think it'd be interesting to see an NPC go rogue.
Do something.
It's programmable. I mean, you could put a variable in it, right? That can make it go rogue.
What do we see as going rogue? Is like doing something that is outside of its characteristics, like you would expect an orc to,
or outside of the programming.
Well, more like
outside of the programming is really
man.
Ooh, see, I don't.
Have you guys seen that video for EverQuest 2 where it's like she's deleting her character, and all of a sudden the character like decides to delete her pretty much. She's like playing her other character, and the other the character pops back up and is like, "Why aren't you playing me? Why are you trying to delete me?" Blah blah blah, and then like comes out in real life and zaps her. It's a really cool video. I'll have to link it to you guys later.
Yeah, maybe Mr. Dave Mark in chat can comment on this, but yeah, the developers will still retain complete control over what they're doing. It's I think one of the problems that he can maybe confirm this, you know, if you have a learning system, once you close that box, you don't know what's going to come from it, and you can't fix it if it goes bad. So, at least for an MMO, but they will still, the way I understand it, they will still retain control, but there will be some flexibility in how everything's sort of done. It's one thing I've learned is to not call it a learning AI. It's an intelligent AI, but not a learning one.
Yeah.
That's smart. It's good. Yeah. Now, the only thing I disagree with, maybe in the context of EQ Next proper, it's in the developer's hands. But Dave said that we have a lot of system-level tools to work with. And if we go with the assumption of what Storybricks originally was, which was this tool built for the players of the game itself, not the developers. You know, Storybricks is a system. It's not just an idea. It's like it's a tool to be used. You could essentially, just like the modding tools in Landmark, put the power in the player's hands. You know, maybe if I built that dungeon in Landmark, maybe I could fill it with real NPCs and then have players interact that way. So, yeah, I definitely say the possibility's there. We have no confirmation. That is speculation, people. No confirmation at all.
Yeah, I think that's a big
Chad?
part of...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Specify which Dave, because there's two.
Oh, yeah. That's a good idea, too. Dave Georgeson, I believe, said that.
Well, I think a big reason...
Georgeson.
My opinion of why they got Storybricks involved is because of the way they can put it in the player's hands. Their intention of letting us create content. I know they've really only said building stuff, but it's there. You know they're going to let us create more than that. And I think that's a big part of why Storybricks is involved. I think that's also, again, I don't have any confirmation. I think that's a big part of why, well, when was it, 2011? They said they were redoing the whole thing. Whenever it last was, I think it was to put in the AI and probably to put in the voxels.
I agree. Yeah, I completely agree. Because they're like both outsourced systems. You have Voxel Farm, which is doing the voxel technology for EverQuest Next. Like, it's heavily modified. But same with Storybricks. Storybricks was an outside company working on this who assimilated into SOE for the project.
Yeah. And they've made it clear that what you see on their videos is not what will be in Next.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely changed a lot.
it's exciting. I just, you get and you're playing the MMOs and the same encounters over and over again, and to the point that you can just, I just want to see something that's a little bit unpredictable, and get me not afraid of adventuring, but the challenge of adventuring again, where I don't have, like the super scripted, where to go, what to do, and that sort of thing, and just make it a little bit more lively, and importantly, give that little sliver for the player to innovate, to interact with the NPC in ways that not even the developers can predict will happen. Give me that little sliver, and I'll find a way to innovate off of it.
When I've had a lot of people say, well, people will learn how to game the system still, and maybe, but you literally will, if it's done the way I think it will be, you will have to do everything exactly 100% the way you did it before. You'll have to stand in the same place. You'll have to have the same gear. I mean, it will have you cast the same spells at the same time. And
the problem is, it's not even you, because you can't really game the system, because you have to rely on the NPCs being there because of the population moving around the server.
Right.
Like if that orc isn't on that road because the players aren't going back and forth, or something like that, maybe the server is acting differently than another server, you're not going to have the same experience. And then what if time goes by and they totally delete that city? They have a rally call where the city gets destroyed, and totally you're on the other side of the world now. Like, it's completely impossible to replicate it. It's not a normal MMO based on reciprocity. The world changes. You're not going to go back to level 1 through 9 and see the same mobs walking around. There's no absolute way.
And I'm very excited that we're going to get to see some of it in Landmark and not have to wait all the way until next. So
I really want to see a war. I want to see the combat, how it happens, and how the mobs think in that combat situation, how they react, because I think that's what's really going to make EverQuest Next, like, it's going to put it in the spotlight again.
Yes.
We've been in sort of a murmur as
An
far as
MMO
information coming forth, but
an MMO with a not scripted war, but a real war between players and NPCs. Has that ever even been done before? I can't. Well, I guess. Well, in EVE Online, it would be more like players versus players in the grand epic wars, but not against this is the players and this is the NPCs, and they just go at it. That was where I think that Guild Wars 2 let us down, is because we were expecting these big epic sieges, but after a while they became very predictable. Put the trebuchet here because it can't be hit by any of these defending places, and hit this spot on the wall.
That's the interaction script.
And so
Guild Wars 2 do that, right?
Right. Guild Wars 2 had that possibility and that probability, but in the end, it became, once you figured it out and you knew. And so that's where the EverQuest Next could really deliver something new.
I think the last thing I want to mention on this is just the emergent AI part too, and that's that these monsters, as we're fighting them, they're going to be able to reassess whatever changes we make during combat. So they will be able to change what they're doing based off what we're doing. So very, very cool stuff.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's so bad. Like, I'm smiling because all I hear is Dave Mark drilling a hammer into my head, saying PvP sucks. Like he said many times, at least to me, and I'm pretty sure to a lot of people, that the reason people like PvP is because they haven't seen his AI. He will tell you guys that a million times if you ever talk to him.
And that is a challenge.
I go back to it. I
want to see.
To my my idea of Planetside 2 and my argument of why it's popular. It's the fact that these massive armies can go at it, and the variables are so emergent that it constantly creates new gameplay experiences. There's no PvP in the game, but it's completely dynamic. It completely changes and always challenges you. That's a big problem with game design, or a big challenge rather. You need to be able to challenge a player, teach them how to accomplish the challenge so they feel rewarded, but then you need to be able to challenge them again. You need to constantly challenge, learn, challenge, learn, challenge, learn. That's what keeps games interesting. If the player learns everything and isn't challenged anymore, they're not going to play the game. So this has a lot of possibilities to constantly challenge you for years to come. I guess we should move on to roundtable, right?
Round table. Sure.
Bring it on. I shall use my giant sword of judgment.
So our first roundtable question is, what is your favorite way to consume the lore of EverQuest Next?
Sandwich? What are the options? What are the options? Give them to me.
You didn't give me options.
What? No. Okay. Tanlin, you are hashtag pulling a Tanlin. Gosh.
Oh my god, not again.
Everyone, if you could tweet out hashtag pulling a Tanlin tonight, I'll give you a beer next time. I'll just send it to you.
We do not have the answers because after watching the live stream that SOE did about their roundtable, I thought it would be
They can change. It can adapt.
I thought it would be better off for us to come up with our own answers without having the predefined answers, and just see what comes up from the top of our head. And from my own point of view, I am very much against cutscenes where I lose control over what's going on. But I hate to say it. But Mists of Pandaria has changed my point of view in their legendary quest item in that expansion, and that when the voice acting is really good, and when there is sufficient time space between where you get the start of the lore and then when you get your gameplay interrupted. And I'm not talking like an hour or two. I'm talking like you get an objective for part of this huge lore and challenging quest, and then like a week or two later you come back and you finish it, and then there's a cut scene that's like 5 minutes long where they really voice the story and it's kind of a cut scene. I'm totally okay with that.
Oh yeah, I like that.
And then when it comes to outside of the game, I'm okay with it as long as I don't have to pay extra for it, and as long as it's delivered to me. And I don't have to go searching for it, because one of the things I hate is I'm playing a game and the king is dead. I'm like, wait, what? When did the king die? I had no idea. So that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I'll just interject real quick. When it comes to the ebooks, I think I like it in shorter tidbits. The way they recently did the last one, it's a lot shorter of a novella. But the fact is that the second part hasn't come out yet. So if you're going to make a short novella, you need to put it on a shorter basis to where it comes out, because now I've sort of lost interest a little bit. Okay, I haven't lost interest. I'm lying. But I really want to read it. And that's what I'd say on the novella stance, which I think the roundtable sort of focuses on. But then I also agree that I'm cool with cutscenes, but I think in-game engine stuff's better. When we were doing our lore episode, Jared Jathamas, he has another gamer name which I totally forgot, but I call him Jathamas. He discussed the EverQuest 2 recent storyline in not Scars of Ishin, the one before that, the recent game update. Anyways, they position the player to where the NPCs like interact around them and tell the story. It's almost like a cutscene, but it's real time. And that could be really cool. I'd rather see that. I'd rather see, with the emotes, the players, and the NPCs interacting constantly real time. You can do a lot of cool things without a cutscene. Because a cutscene implies that it's been recorded. It's never going to change. That's what a cutscene is.
Exactly.
So I'd say you can change the camera position on the player, but always keep it real time.
So here's where I get to be kind of a jerk. I don't really like having to read the books for lore. If the lore is for a video game, put the lore in the video game. And I'm not going to say that just about EverQuest Next or any other. Like, World of Warcraft does it too, and I hate it. I'm not going to go buy the books, and I'm not going to take the time to read the books. I play the game, put the lore in the game. It's a personal preference, and I think it's great that franchises can use other media, and that's fine, but it's not my preference. If I want to see the lore, put it in the game to where I'm going to have to interact with it.
I agree with that. The only thing I'd say is that currently I never read quest text because it's so boring in the way it's delivered. It's like little mini books. But yeah, lore in a game is good, but it needs to be told better.
Yeah, I agree. If there's going to be cutscenes, I'd like to be able to view them later, so not just once. Then also, in game definitely. I'd love to have build a library, and you can go back and look at stuff as you have time. Maybe
That's
stuff
cool.
that will even help you later quest. So
that's an awesome idea. I'd love to see questing like the Secret World. Have you guys played that at all?
I played a little
It's like
bit.
puzzle-based questing.
One of the things I love the best about the Secret World is that the players took the lore that's in the game and they ran with it outside of it, and it kind of has that augmented reality feel to it, where they're creating their own story outside of the game that kind of applies to what's in the game. But, I think that you could do a little bit of that in EverQuest Next, but I'm not sure. It depends on who has the idea.
All right. Well, we have made our decision to the next roundtable.
Do you want to see in-game holidays in EverQuest Next? And I want to take this one first. It's one of my favorite parts of a video game is when there's in-game holidays. So for me, yes, it's the one thing that really gets me to, if I've taken a short break, like I've taken a couple of days off, if a holiday pops back up, it's the thing that gets me to log back in and start playing again, because I really enjoy the holidays. And there's a huge amount of lore in that short amount of time. I don't know, the holidays are fun.
They definitely are. I agree. I mean, we're doing a Halloween episode. That's all I'm going to say.
I was gonna say, yeah, the Halloween episode.
No, holidays suck. I am not dressed as a box.
Okay. A downside to holidays in game, keep it original. Like, don't give us the same thing rehashed 3 years in a row. I'd say that if you're going to do it. And also, base it in the lore. Don't give me, like, Christmas with Christmas trees just because. I'd rather see, like, maybe Halas celebrates Christmas or Frostfell differently than maybe Freeport does. Like, see some actual cultural things done in the game. Make it
regional,
a little more creative.
That's
that
awesome.
Would be cool.
I love it.
Regional.
So
I agree.
holidays would be, even though the holiday's going on, maybe some people are celebrating, some people aren't. All these different things. They can still have their mini games and collectibles that in-game holidays do, which make you come back for it. But they can make it a little more creative.
Yeah. See, and that's where I am, like, kind of on the outside. Is that if the holiday doesn't apply to, like, what I feel is the story of the game, I just ignore it, and I spend very little time in it. And the only time I do spend in it is if there's, like, achievements, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna go get my holiday achievement, and then it's what amounts to me as a cheap thrill. I get the cheap thrill of getting my achievement, and then once I have that achievement, that holiday becomes meaningless to me again. I would rather have, if there is in-game holiday, that the holiday means something, and that it's not like Chuena had said, that it's not a rehash year after year. It's like, if there's a drought one year because we didn't kill the rats and they caused a plague, or they ate the grain stores, and then the next year, that harvest festival might be something pretty special if they went through a whole year of
hardship. Talk about it and stuff like that, and change the situation. I want to see player created events. I want to see, like, an EVE player council for EverQuest Next. You brought that up, Tamlin, on Twitter. If players, if a group of players celebrate a certain holiday like they did in EverQuest 2, I forget what it was called, but they, like, throw, like, a yearly celebration where they come together. It was over a child who was sick, and so it was like, let's build an area for him to play in, sort of thing. And they've done it since then, I believe. If they do that, game developers should take it and they should put it into the game to where everyone can experience that kind of stuff. Like, really let it create itself.
And I think that we're presumably we create content we can create our own holidays, hopefully. So.
All right. I believe we're going to hold the last 2 roundtable questions for after hours, in which Andorin will be joining us. If you guys don't know who Andorin is, Vanderbeck's, you had a little good write-up. Would you like to introduce them?
Yeah. He brought to us. Don't remember how long ago it was, but a very excellent music kind of video put together.
Battle for Kelthan, right?
Yeah, Battle for Kelthan. He is going to present to us his latest work, his latest project, which we will get to see shortly, and I'm very excited to see it.
I am too. He's an awesome composer, does some awesome videos too. He writes it all, right?
Blown away by the first one. So
definitely. And this one's about me, the last stand of the tier doll, Corlin Largos, of course, not me, Chewy.
Yes.
But
it is. I would consider this a very special piece of music. I was very impressed. I'm going to start. You guys ready?
All right. Yeah. We'll go ahead, play it. What's the title of the track, Tamara?
The title of the track is "Vengeance."
I'm testing him.
Triolith.
It
sounds like an elf name. How do you expect me to know this?
Well, if you were elven like myself. All right, so we'll go ahead and play the video. We're going to go to after hours. We're going to bring him on. We'll be right back in a couple minutes afterwards. Enjoy the video.
Thank you for watching.